Contract front at Cowboys camp, Scott, Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, and Amari Cooper all still in the negotiating phase. And according to Jerry Jones, they could be in that phase for a while. The Cowboys owner saying last night he has no problem taking these talks into the season. In fact, he even up an interesting analogy to further make that point.
Picture if you were a driver of a car and you had a wreck and your hand was almost severed off, but you didn't understand your anatomy. You look down, you're spurting blood, you open the door and run to the woods and either die bleeding to death or shock. The educated man looks down, knows his anatomy, squeezes and knows his best chance is to wait for help. That's because he's been there a lot and done that. And so I'm waiting, I'm squeezing and waiting for help.
You're waiting for help.
And on that note, I'm going to bring in some help of my own. Mike Garafolo, you think he workshopped that, bounced that off of people before he just delivered that, to the reporters?
I don't think he workshops anything, and that leads to some of the great Jerry Jones quotes of all time. Remember circumcising a mosquito? I don't know if we can put that one up there with that one. I don't know that we needed the imagery. I don't quite know what he was talking about, Lindsay, to be honest with you, but I do know this. The Cowboys feel like they have given Dak Prescott an offer that is not insulting and one that is fair, considering the fact that he's scheduled to make only $2 million this upcoming season. And that's really their hammer, their leverage here is, does he really want to go into a season when he can renegotiate for the first time, playing for only $2 million? And I say only $2 million because they're in the 30s with the offer that they have made to Dak Prescott at this point. So that's maybe what Jerry Jones was alluding to, knowing that there's still time here, and maybe knowing that Dak Prescott's agent, Todd France, is known for making teams sweat, for pushing it as far as he possibly can, which could mean up to the start of the season. So maybe Jerry Jones understands that, and that's why Dak in particular, he knows is going to be a staring contest, maybe even for a couple more weeks.
Oh, we'll see who blinks first. Thank you very much, Mike Garafolo.
Well, the franchise that kind of invented the term the triplets when it comes to quarterback, running back, and a star wide receiver, dealing with contract negotiations on all three of those players. Our research team came up with this one here. The highest paid triplets right now in the NFL, they belong to the Atlanta Falcons. Devontae Freeman, Julio Jones, and Matt Ryan make a collective annual average value of right around $53 million per year. Kind of file that away. Every other team in the NFL is in the 40s or below when it comes to their triplets. So, fellas, put the crystal ball on this one. For the Dallas Cowboys triplets, by week one, the season opener, how many of the triplets have a new deal and how many are on the field week one?
I'll say one has a new deal and two of them are on the field. I think Dak gets his deal. Okay. I think that's done before week one. I think Amari Cooper's on the field. I don't know that Zeke is there week one. And I think the fact that he's holding out now and he's not even in the country, I think that leads me to believe that he might not be there. But I am optimistic that all three of these guys will get done. But I'm going to use another O word. To me, Scott, the optics with this are what bother me the most. And just follow me here on this, all right? We're talking about the Dallas Cowboys, all right? The most lucrative.
Yeah, the richest team.
The richest sports franchise in the world, Craig, all right? To use an analogy, this would be like Apple saying we are not going to pay our most significant and influential people that have brought the iPhone. This would be like them saying we're not going to pay these guys what they're worth or what we think they're worth. So from that standpoint, if I'm a Cowboys fan, I got a problem with all this. Like, what are we doing here? We knew that Dak's deal was coming up. You've known about Zeke's deal needed to be addressed. You know Amari Cooper's needs a new deal. This is a playoff team. They won a playoff game last year. We should be talking about how many games they're going to win and how far in the playoffs we're going into. Instead, we're talking about money, and that's bad business. To me, it's a bad optic.
Still got a few weeks. How many are going to have new deals? How many are on the field week one?
I'm not even going to go to that point. I'm not going to answer that question. I'm going to talk about something a little bit different.
Okay.
And I think you hit it on the head. This is what happens when you draft well. Right? You draft well, you have to prepare to pay guys that you draft. Now, this team is a homegrown team. Now, we want to talk about Atlanta. Atlanta went to the playoffs paying Devontae Freeman, paying Julio Jones and Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
But they had to draft on the other side. They couldn't pay other guys on the other side. The problem with the Cowboys is they spent money early on Tank Lawrence and DeMarcus Lawrence. So you gave him $100 million. Now it's a little trickier than going out there and just spreading it. So to answer your question, at least two for sure, because they're in camp right now. That's going to be Dak and Amari. I don't know, but to me, we know what this team is like without Zeke. So I would try to get Zeke done as soon as possible, get him into camp, and then worry about the other two later.
Okay, quickly circling back to those numbers that we showed you, the Falcons lead the way in the 50 millions range for the triplets. If the players that on the Cowboys get the contracts that we understand they want, the Cowboys are going to be in the 60 millions range for three players.
The cap is going up.
That eats up a ton of that cap, even if it goes up.
Is this way.
Speaking of the Dallas Cowboys, the players that will be on the field will be on NFL Network. Look at the right side of the screen right there. The Cowboys and the Rams live from Hawaii. One of 4 games we have for you live in preseason week number 2.